Welcome back to the IBSP. Here's your host, Boxing News.
Is Terence Crawford a drug cheat? Look, let's break it down honestly and objectively as possible. And Terence Bud Crawford did a recent interview with Pound for Pound, the podcast, and he states that Manny Pacquiao isn't an all-time top 5 pound-for-pound list fighter. And this is why he says when Floyd Mayweather made it a point for him to do the blood testing, he didn't want to do the blood test. But then, when he did do the blood test, he hasn't gotten a knockout since. So he said the reason why Manny Pacquiao's knockouts have dried up is because he started doing more strenuous drug testing, and that exposed Manny Pacquiao, implying that he's a drug cheat. That's what he's doing, implying that Manny Pacquiao's a drug cheat. So look, let me just list a few facts, because everything Terence Crawford said was nothing but feelings. The first fact is Manny Pacquiao, just like Terence Crawford, has never failed a drug test. That's a fact. So you can speculate, you can argue, you can cry, but he's never failed a drug test. So that fact alone, you can't hold him out from any level of the fact that this man's a great fighter and he's potentially one of the top 5 best fighters of all time. You can't leave him out because he never failed a drug test. There's nothing to substantiate that, period. 2, Manny Pacquiao was never against doing blood testing, period. That's a lie. You see, Manny Pacquiao literally did not want to take a blood test the day before the fight. He was willing to do it the day after the fight. He was willing to do it leading up to the fight. He was willing to do it during the press conference. He just didn't want to do it the day before the fight. He didn't want it to take something out of him. That's a fact. Now, here's the thing. Some fighters do, some fighters don't. But the interesting thing about all of this is he was never against blood testing, and he never ever failed a drug test, period. So everything that Terence Crawford said is mere speculation. But what's more interesting is Manny Pacquiao explained years ago why his knockouts dried up. Manny Pacquiao said this: it's harder to knock out opponents at 147 division because in fact my natural weight is 140 pounds. And if I demand a little more of myself, I can get down to 135. Now the interesting thing is Manny Pacquiao was fighting in his 7th weight division at 147. His 7th weight division. This is a Manny Pacquiao who started his career at literally 106 pounds. So think about it. A guy who starts his career at 106 pounds, the only 8 division world champion in boxing, goes to his 7th division at 147, and you're saying he got to be cheating because the knockouts dried up? Are you a moron? Are you an idiot? Are you a dummy? It doesn't make any sense. The real reason Terence Crawford is saying all this is simply to hate on Manny Pacquiao. There's no other explanation for it. But think about this. In the twilight of Manny Pacquiao's career, he was still hurting guys. He didn't get knockouts, but he was hurting guys. Look at when Manny Pacquiao, in the twilight of his career, fought Tim Bradley. Still dropped him. He fought, Jesse Vargas. Still dropped him. He fought Keith Thurman. Still dropped him. So in the twilight of his career, this man still showed that he had power. His power had not disappeared. But at the same time, when you go up so many weight divisions and you start at 106, you're not going to be the strongest Manny ever at 147 pounds. You get older, you deal with injuries, and you're at a higher weight class. Make that make sense. This guy has to be a hater. But not only that, by Terence Crawford's own logic, Terence Crawford came into the Errol Spence fight riding, I believe, a 10-fight knockout streak. That made 11 when he beat up Errol Spence, brutally stopped him. Does that mean when he fought Israel Madrimov and could not even drop him, could not even hurt him, it went the full 12 rounds and Madrimov never touched the canvas, never got dropped, never got hurt? Does that mean Terence Crawford was cheating the whole time before at welterweight in previous divisions? Does that mean he was juiced to the gills by Victor Conte? Because don't forget that Terence Crawford worked with the snack program, Victor Conte, who is literally banned from all baseball because he's such a notorious cheater. He's a convicted felon. Think about that. And yet, Terence Crawford, how do I know you weren't juiced to the gills for the Errol Spence fight and you simply beat the drug test? You remember, Victor Conte said, hey, I can beat any drug test. And you say, well, Terence Crawford never failed a drug test. Neither did Manny Pacquiao, but the speculation remains. So at the same time, did your knockouts dry up against Israel Madrimov? Because you were juiced to the gill on all the fights before? Or was it simply because you moved up to 154 pounds, guys are bigger and stronger, and your power does not carry the same? Make that make sense. Terence Crawford, please, kindly, respectfully, sit your hating ass down.